Welcome. Today I speak about the 12 zodiac signs, what the shift of the lunar nodes means for you personally. Because the lunar nodes speak of your destiny in life. They are like two poles where you can feel a great attraction, that is Rahu, or the other pole is Ketu, where you feel separated and something is missing in your life. And this axis of the lunar nodes is changing now on November the 29th for 18 and a half months. And this brings great changes into your personal life. And what exactly it is about in your life, your fate, your destiny, you will find out today. But first, a warm welcome. And if you would like to receive a weekly, energetic and also astrological update, please sign up for my free newsletter where I share this information every Sunday with you. Click on the link below the video if you are interested. Maybe you have never heard of the lunar nodes and how they influence your life. And today I'm talking about Vedic astrology. This is a completely different system than the normal known here Western astrology. It is one of the oldest systems and it is very much oriented towards the energy of the moon, because the moon stands for our own perception, our self-image, and through which glasses we look in the world. And we have two lunar nodes. The upper lunar node is called Rahu and the lower lunar node, which is called Ketu. Rahu has a lot to do with your future and what you want to achieve in your life. And Rahu is like the horizon, things you cannot see yet. And Ketu speaks about your past, your ancestors, something that you already know, but has lost its attraction. And often it feels like something is missing with Ketu. But also there you can find hidden treasures within yourself. But now let's look exactly what the change of the lunar nodes means for you personally. For this analysis, you definitely need a Vedic horoscope. You cannot take the horoscope from Western astrology because it is a completely different system. And if you are interested in the differences between the systems, make sure to watch this video, which I link here for you. There you can find out more about what this system makes so much more accurate than the Western astrology system. And if you want to get a Vedic horoscope, you can order it in our online shop, and more information in the box below this video. But now let's start. What you must now look at when it becomes to a prediction, you look in your horoscope where the letters A, S, C are located, because that stands for your ascendant. And your ascendant is very important. It is the starting point from which your horoscope is read. And this dictates also your first house. If your ascendant is in the sign of Pisces, then Rahu is now switching into your first house, and Ketu is always exactly 180 degrees away in the sign of Virgo. For you, an important new 18.5 month long cycle begins. It is really a bigger cycle. It is about 18.5 years, because for you, this is really a new start of the nodes. And this can lead to a total transformation of your personality. And maybe you are very focused on yourself, on your desires. Be careful that you do not lose yourself too much in overthinking things and not being able to get out of this spiral of thoughts, because Rahu is mostly connected a lot to our thoughts and also to our illusions. And this can lead exactly to that. This change of the lunar nodal axis challenges you to get out of your comfort zone and to leave maybe the family territory and to try new things. And especially with Ketu in your 7th house, where it is about relationships and partnerships in your 7th house. It is important to allow yourself to become more independent from your partner or even your business partnerships. It can also give you the feeling that you might feel separated from your partner. You are not really connected anymore. And since this eclipse in the next 18 months will take place in your 1st and 7th house axis, it is for you a time of great transformation in how you perceive yourself and also other people. And where you can question yourself, who you are and why you are here, and which relationships are important for you in your life. If your ascendant is in the sign of Aquarius, then this shift of the nodes occurs in your 2nd and your 8th house. Rahu moves in the 2nd house and Ketu into your 8th house. What does this mean for you? And also, the planet Saturn is currently in your 1st house. And Saturn in the 1st house can bring one or the other challenge into your life. And you are called perhaps to take more responsibilities in your life. And this can also give you the feeling you are restricted and you can feel more insecure and doubt yourself a lot. With Rahu in your 2nd house, you can have larger expenses, but also maybe more money can come into your coffers. But Rahu is a demon energy, and the 2nd house is deeply connected to family life. And you should be very careful about what you say and how you say it. With Rahu, it could sometimes be too much for others, and they cannot really understand what you mean because Rahu is not really clear. It brings very destructive energies with it. And also, the 2nd house is connected to what you eat, and your eating habits can change with Rahu, and you might suddenly have cravings, and especially for junk food or also exotic food. And you should be very careful. And also careful, especially with alcohol and smoking. Those are very much connected to those energies of Rahu. And you might feel more drawn to your partner's family than to your own because of Ketu in the 8th house. But you can't really get in touch with them. You lack their support. And maybe the expected money from insurances or inheritances does not really come with Ketu in the 8th house. But it is also about, with Ketu in the 8th house, to learn to let go all those stuff you do not need anymore, and to explore yourself deeper, and to detach yourself from dependencies. And Also, Ketu is connected to our pets, and pets can also have some problems and difficulties with Ketu in the 8th house. For example, surgeries. If your ascendant is in the sign of Capricorn, then Rahu is in your 3rd house and Ketu is in your 9th house. And Rahu in your 3rd house will awaken the desire in you to learn something new, to develop new skills, and you are motivated to tackle new projects. But be careful not to start anything too risky. Rahu brings a lot of communication into your life, new ideas, and also creative activities, maybe also writing, and maybe also more short trips. But Rahu also brings problems and disputes with neighbors or siblings, and especially foreign neighbors, because Rahu stands for the foreign, for the horizon, you cannot see it clearly, and Rahu also stands for tattoos, also Ketu, and this can bring you new tattoos, maybe to your arms or shoulders or neck, because those are the areas of the 3rd house. And take care of your shoulders and your neck, because Rahu can also bring more tension into your body. And Ketu in your 9th house can mean that you find a guru, a mentor, or a wisdom teacher with whom you were already connected in past lives. But it can also stand for criticism and disputes with a guru or an authority in your life. And the first guru you have in your life is your father. So be careful with communication with your father. And Ketu in the 9th house can also mean that you feel disconnected to your father. If your ascendant is in the sign of Sagittarius, then Rahu is in your 4th house and Ketu is in your 10th house. The 4th house stands for your home, for your mother, being happy, feeling secure, and also the 4th house stands for your sleep. And the 10th house stands for your career and your reputation, your job. And an important theme for you is to find balance between work and leisure. And you may have the desire to buy a new home or a new exotic car with Rahu, or to purchase land. Be cautious also with electricity in the house, because Rahu and Ketu, they are deeply connected to electricity. And Rahu can cause overcharge. So be cautious. And also be cautious with your heart and your lungs, as Rahu could lead to problems there. In the 4th house, this is also connected to your mother. And with Rahu, perhaps your mother decides to take a long trip in a foreign country, or also pay attention to her health, the health of your mother, and especially to her heart. With Rahu in the 4th house, you may also have the feeling you want to travel to distant countries, because Rahu connects you to this very far away countries and places. Ketu in the 10th house could lead to problems with your boss and your job. There might be changes in your job, and you could be criticized by your superiors, and you might ponder about the conditions under which you want to work in the future. It can lead to a lack of interest in work. Maybe you are also completely clueless about what to do. Nothing seems to really excite you anymore. And it's definitely a very emotional time for you. If your ascendant is in the sign of Scorpio, then this transit of Rahu and Ketu for you means that Rahu moves into your 5th house and Ketu into your 11th house. What does this mean? For women, it could mean that the desire for children becomes very strong. If you already have children, it may mean that they go abroad. Perhaps you have the desire to do something meaningful with Rahu in your 5th house, something that fulfills you more, such as learning yoga or astrology. Be cautious with money speculations, with Rahu, because that can mean you bet on the wrong horse, because Rahu takes away your clarity. Maybe it's a good time to learn yoga, mantras or something like this, where you find a more inner fulfillment, and especially to move your body. Do more sports with Rahu in your 5th house. The 5th house is also connected to romances, and Rahu could also give you the feeling that you find your dream partner, but you can fall in illusions. And after the transit of Rahu, you realize that you were mistaken. With Ketu in your 11th house, maybe old friends can come back into your life, possibly even from school days, but also other people with whom you no longer feel a close connection may leave your life. With Ketu in the 11th house, perhaps your desires changes, and many material wishes suddenly seem not really important anymore for you. If your ascendant is in the sign of Libra, then Rahu is in your 6th house and Ketu is in your 12th house. And this particularly affects the topics of health and also your expenses. With Rahu in your 6th house, this can bring problems with your stomach, but also maybe skin problems. Or perhaps you radically change your work habits and also your workplace, because those are the topics that are connected to the 6th house. And maybe because Saturn is in your 5th house, this can implement that a lot of work has to be done with creative things maybe, and also maybe your children demand more help from you, and you have to take care of them. And if you do the hard work that Saturn wants you to do, then in the long term, this is a good investment that will bring you recognition, and also you will be rewarded with Rahu in the 6th house. Be cautious with expenses. It is not a good time for new debts, and avoid conflicts, because the 6th house is also connected to conflicts and to enemies. Ketu in your 12th house may awaken in you the need to go on pilgrimages, to seek out spiritual places, and you may consciously or unconsciously choose places that are connected to your ancestors. And they are maybe very important for you and your own healing. And it is important for you to pay attention to your health during this time when the Rahu-Ketu axis is in your health houses 6 and 12. And for you it is most beneficial to use natural remedies, maybe homeopathy or Ayurveda, because those healing systems are very old and connected to our ancestors and to nature and connected to the earth, because Ketu in the sign of Virgo has a great relationship to our natural roots. If your ascendant is in the sign of Virgo, then this change of the lunar nodes is also of great importance for you, as it affects your first and your seventh house. And your first house stands for yourself, how you feel, how you perceive the world and yourself. And this brings often great changes that start now for 18.5 years, because the cycle of the lunar nodes take 18.5 years to come back to the starting point. And this is really of great importance. And with Ketu in the first house for the next 18.5 months, you will be very critical of yourself, and the tendency to perfectionism is very large. And you might be very self-focused, perhaps even introverted with Ketu in the first house. Your self-confidence can be weak, and sometimes you do not really know where to start. Everything could suddenly become too much for you. To others, it might seem that you are lazy, but in truth, you just do not know where to start, and you may feel perhaps powerless. Be careful not to act rashly, but act, that's very important. Rahu in the 7th house can lead to your partner having to take long trips and not being home as often as you wish, or that you find a foreign partner attractive. In any case, it is important with Ketu in the sign of Virgo also to pay attention to your health, especially the area of the stomach, but also the kidneys and the teeth are very important. If your ascendant is in the sign of Leo, then Rahu and Ketu moves into your 8th and 2nd house. Rahu into the 8th and Ketu into the 2nd. Money from others could come into your life with Rahu in the 8th house. Maybe through your partner, or also through an inheritance, or maybe the partner's family. However, there could also be discord and disputes with your partner or the partner's family. Maybe you have the desire to change many things in your life, because the 8th house is the house of transformation. Rahu can also enlarge your fears of something you cannot really touch, you cannot see, but those fears can be very big. Rahu can force you to make changes that you could not have foreseen, and secrets may be revealed that have been kept for a long time. With Ketu in the 2nd house, you may have more expenses that you thought. Maybe you should look for other ways to earn money. Or you may not feel any incentive to care about earning money at all. There can be misunderstandings in the family, especially due to a lack of communication and attention. You may also suddenly not feel right comfortable in your family. And Ketu can give you the feeling of separation from your family. If you have your ascendant in the sign of Cancer, then this means that Rahu moves into your 9th house and Ketu into your 3rd. This is the axis that mainly concerns about travel and education. With Ketu in your 3rd house, this can bring a disconnection to a sibling, especially a younger one. You feel listless and unmotivated with Ketu in your 3rd house. Perhaps you lose the interest in exchanging ideas with others and maybe no more interest in social media. There can also be neck problems and shoulder tensions, and what can help is, for example, to write about your deep inner feelings and your own inner experiences. And with Rahu in your 9th house, you may be looking for a guru, someone who helps you out of this dilemma on earth, someone who gives your life more meaning. Maybe during this time, your father becomes especially important to you. You might take long journeys to foreign countries, and this can help you to come out of this lethargy you can feel, and to find something there that helps you, to motivate you again, to rediscover yourself. But be careful not to start arguments over different religious concepts or different belief systems, especially not with your father. If your ascendant is in the sign of Gemini, then Rahu is in your 10th house and Ketu is in your 4th house. And the 4th house with Ketu stands for your home and can bring problem with your home, maybe with the drain or the water pipes, something often hidden. Maybe sometimes also little critters that can spread there. The 4th house also stands for your vehicle, and you should also make sure that your car is in a good shape and that you drive carefully. There could also be some communication problems with your mother, and very important also to pay attention to the health of your mother, especially the heart, because the heart is connected to the 4th house. With Rahu in your 10th house, there could be a raise in your career or a promotion. You will be seen, receive more recognition and leadership tasks. Make sure that you do not take these things for granted and do not just do things to look good in front of others. Be authentic and do not use shortcuts if you want to raise your position in your career. If your ascendant is in the sign of Taurus, then Rahu is in your 11th house and Ketu is in your 5th house. What does this mean? Rahu in the 11th house can also raise your social network and can expand it to more people. But be careful. Also, people can come into your life that deceive you, who only pursue their own agenda. But with Rahu in your 11th house, definitely one or the other wish can be fulfilled. Gains can come into your life. And maybe some difficulties that you had the last years in your work environment can dissolve. But there could be a problem with an older sibling, disputes maybe about money. With Ketu in your 5th house, it is important that you do not lose focus on looking after your children, and especially the health of your children. Be there for them. That is really important. It could be a good time to work with mantras or to learn spiritual techniques, and it is not really a good time for new investments. That's most important. If your ascendant is in the sign of Aries, then Ketu will be in your 6th house and Rahu will be in your 12th house. Ketu in the 6th house in the sign of Virgo means that maybe your health is very important. Pay attention to what you eat and make sure you give your body enough vitamins and nutritions. And also get enough exercise, because Ketu can sometimes take away your motivation. Maybe you had a weekly sports program, but with Ketu you suddenly feel unmotivated. And if you have pets, there may be one or another problem. And you can also feel isolated from your work colleagues, like you no longer really belong. Rahu in the 12th house sparks your interest in the world behind the veil, the invisible world, the non-physical world. Your dreams may become clearer. Perhaps you will experience your first astral journey. But be careful with drugs. Try not to escape the world by falling into addictive behaviors. Subconscious desires can suddenly surface, and you may become interested in topics that you did not think were possible before. Maybe even astrology or the topic of extraterrestrial life. So, that was my brief analysis of what will mainly move you in the next 18.5 months, what will be part of your life experience. And of course, this is just a tiny glimpse, and there is so much more that I couldn't include here. For instance, which planets are located in these houses where Rahu and Ketu are now moving into. And if you want to learn more about Vedic astrology, I have an online course where you can learn everything, how to look on a horoscope and find the deeper meanings of this unique expression that a horoscope is. And if you are interested, please click on the link in the description box. And I also wrote a book about Vedic astrology, my Vedic astrology handbook. There you find a lot of information about the planets and the houses, and there are a lot of pictures that help you to understand Vedic astrology. So look to the link below the video and share this video with your friends and family. And thank you so much. I love you. Namaste.